Unpopular opinions. I've been seeing these a lot on YouTube, so why not a new one with the new season coming? POC solidarity only exists when the white people are in the room. When it's only the POCs, people start to show themselves. I've seen so many, if it was about a black person, coming from other POCs. Phew. Stop saying, nobody should say that word, when arguing about the N-word with non-black people. This is not the time. This is a discussion among black folk. Dark-skinned men are the light-skinned women of the black male community. As in they're getting more hype, representation compared to their female counterparts. I don't claim anyone who doesn't claim me. IDC, you could be 1000% black. If you don't wanna be associate with me, I won't argue. I don't claim the spam some islands for this, besides that it's diverse and thus not everyone black. A great party don't wanna be black unless it's for saying N. The story of Adidon was great diss track speaking. But I do believe the reason behind it was a little exaggerated. Drake only a word play, and fact he was engaged. I doubt he was coming for his fiancée. I feel like a lot of people have been using Nipsey Hussle's name for clout. This is gross considering that Yal didn't even cared like that when he was alive, and that Yal using a dead man name for clout and likes. I find it weird someone who won't date their own race. Like you're not obligated to date your own, but to purposely avoid who look like you is off. Yal turn. Unpopular opinion threads are 8/10 times for saying trifling, but not really all that unpopular, shit. That sub is basically they think Nigress is a hideous shaboons. Honestly, I sussed it as being shit a while back from finding it so frequently in profiles of people who troll my comparatively normal subs. Cishet POC are homophobic and transphobic as fuck towards LGBT POC like myself, and no one likes to acknowledge or discuss this except for other LGBT peeps or allies. I'm so tired of reading straight black people complain that the LGBTQ community has too much visibility, i.e. some schools began teaching LGBTQ history. There were some black complaining about black history not being taught enough, so LGBTQ history should be scrapped. Meanwhile, LGBTQ history can also be black history. Right. Like fool, there are so many of us who are LGBTQIA. Unamused. As a cis and hetero indiv, it irritates the hell out of me when other hetero and cis people say stupid shit like that. Like dude, LGBTQ+ is not a new phenomenon. You all have always existed. You've been and continue to be ignored. It's time we face our realities. We should accept people for who they are and who they love. People are so fucking afraid of things they don't understand. That shit is sick. Ugh. We'd all love to think that the common experience of struggle automatically breeds alliance, but it really doesn't. People can be gay and racist. They can be black and homophobic. Being oppressed on one axis unfortunately does not give some people any sort of insight or empathy for others. And it seems to me that a lot of POC in the US come from fairly conservative religious backgrounds, which can get in the way of being an ally to LGBT people in general. That stuff doesn't disappear overnight. It's true, and we hold on to it as tight, if not tighter than white people do with racism. These kind of range all over the place, so sorry if any of them are inappropriate. Y'all are free to challenge me on any of these, by the way. Any kind of media that has more than 80% white people in it boring. This applies absolutely everything I've ever come across, aside from the 1980 classic movie, 9 to 5 that, while it is the epitome of white feminism, I found it to be very enjoyable. The only kind of jeans that look good are low-rise and or bootcut jeans. High-waisted is okay for shorts, but in full-length pants it just looks wrong. This is coming from a person who was a child the last time bootcut jeans were fashionable. If you're black and alternative, and you're alternative non-black interests makes you unable to connect with other black people, then there's probably something else going on that makes you want to avoid association with other black people. 4 is REALAF. Absolutely. Same goes for women who pull this one. I'm not like other girls. EW. Exactly. I'm super alternative and most of my friends are black. They're not even into the same stuff I'm into. We're just cool. Ignoring is childish and immature in relationships. The trend toward black women getting more PhDs and certain advanced degrees is a problem when you look at the challenges we face, the fields we tend to choose, the high cost of education and the declining value of those degrees. Universities are for finding a job, and they need to get with the program and start meeting people's needs. University is not all about self-discovery and knowledge for the sake of knowledge. That's cool, but that's not what most people are paying for, and we all know that. You can get a master's degree in pretty much anything, and I suspect that a lot of people are getting sucked into that farce. I don't think it's wise to get a master's degree unless you're getting into no little debt and or your earnings will increase to a level where it's possible to pay off your debt. Like, how valuable is a 10k raise if you're 40k in the hole? Black women are the most educated group in the US, but what is the cost of that? How many of us have massive student loans and are highly educated in fields that don't pay very well? Also, most of the clothes at Zara are hideous. They have a few cute pieces here and there, but that's it. Zara, don't attack her, please. LMAO. Phew, these are unpopular opinions. Oh, I love these threads. I have a few. Being plus size is not a black trait. Stop conflating the two. If a woman experiences discrimination for being black, it's racism, but if a black woman experiences discrimination for being big, that's a whole different issue that's separate from race. Please stop acting like almost all black women are plus size. I always see a lot of black women say they struggle in dating and feel undesirable, but also say that they receive a ton of interest from non-black men. If this is the case, then you're clearly desirable. Start paying attention to all the men who do want you and stop letting one group of men control your self-esteem so much. If black men aren't interested, then that's their problem, not yours. Black women should never be in relationships with a man who makes less money than them. Feeling empowered about making more money than your man is white feminism type of stuff. Unless you guys are still in school, of course, in which case, make sure he has a high earning potential. Our careers shouldn't define us. There's nothing wrong with having a job solely because it pays the bills. Far too many people base their entire self-worth around how much success they've had in their careers and end up unhappy and stress themselves out to death. What I find important is my hobbies, interests, friends, and family. My job is just a way for me to get some cash to enjoy my life. If you avoid interracial dating because you don't want to explain things about being black, you probably shouldn't be in a relationship at all. Relationships require communication where you regularly have to explain your perspective. If that's too hard for you, then. On 3, I get it when a professor dates a janitor, but what if you make 100k and your man makes 75k? What if you get a raise that puts you slightly above his pay? It's over. If you make 100k, he should at least be making 130k. Unless it's a situation where you're both barely out of school and his career has the potential to make much more than 75k in a couple years' time. If you're in a LTR and you're both earning 100k plus and a raise puts you slightly above him, then of course, logically, you shouldn't just end your LTR for that. It is what it is at that point. I would just say that you should have picked a man with a much higher earning potential. Though if your raise puts you at 40k while he's still at 35k, then yes, drop him and find a different man. The fact is that men just have more privilege. It's easier for them to make more money than us, so the ones we pick should be making more money than us. Most white, non-black women make sure to only get with men who make more money than them, even if they themselves make a lot. While black women are the ones that are either the sole breadwinner in the household or the one that makes more. We need to step it up and stop settling TBH. How are we supposed to get ahead if we keep choosing to have our households and our families behind? I definitely can't fault you for having that standard. You're right that a lot of other women wouldn't entertain it. What's so different about 35k versus 100k plus in terms of a raise? Why isn't it enough for you to have the same level of education and job stability? Otherwise, it just looks like people would call you a gold digger because that's what it looks like. Just because your man doesn't make as much money as you doesn't mean you're settling. That's just asking for disaster. Why can't you go for a man that treats you right and makes a decent salary rather than a man that makes more than you but frequently causes rifts in your relationship? I'm about 65k plus lol. Because at 100k, he's still doing pretty well for himself, so you doing slightly better is somewhat fine, but at 35k he's pretty basic and you could easily find a man that makes more than that. It's not gold digging to want a successful man. Gold diggers only look at a man's money and don't care about anything else. Definitely consider his personality and other aspects about him as well, but also seriously consider his financial success instead, leaving that on the back burner and saying, meh, good enough. Or, here's an idea, get a man that does both. Since when are the two mutually exclusive? You can get a man that treats you right and makes a lot of money. To reiterate from my previous comment, don't settle. Being plus size is not a black trait. Stop conflating the two. Woo. Thank you. I hate when people act like black women come in one body type. I go back and forth on this. I agree completely that empowerment is garbage, but I think we're in a position where we need to be a lot more strategic about how we partner, especially seeing how we're viewed by so many in the dating market. I don't believe we should settle for less than other races of women, but I do think we need to start building our own standards of what more is. Look at a case like Serena, who married way down in terms of fame, prestige and income, but still found someone who was supportive. Of course, that's a completely different income bracket and life, but any woman who is at or beyond the six-figure mark is probably easily taking care of herself and has more room to choose a male partner for non-monetary reasons. I'm starting to think that we should look at emotional support before anything else and not even deal with men who can't offer that, regardless of what they make. For your average black woman though, income is an extremely important factor, especially in influencing how supportive a man will be, and I don't think we should take it lightly. My daughter is a little chubby and I was telling my sister how she's a little too big for her age. My sister tells me that she's black, she's supposed to be bigger. Little white girls are skinny. Funny sis, consider I was bony when I was a kid and still am on the slim side. Her comment really annoyed me. She should know better, especially since she's the one who told me that her friend was 200 pounds at 12 years old. Meg Thee Stallion, Lizzo, and Normani are simultaneously under and overrated. Yup. For number 2, people need to start being proud of their own culture and stop using somebody else's. Beyoncé is a copycat. 4C hair looks best stretched, not shrunken. The Afroach movement is definitely a bad thing. School is mostly useless after age 14, most people would do better to learn trades and learn for fun on the side beyond that. I definitely agree with this, but maybe with the age raised to 16. I feel like a large part of high school should be about exploring what your passions are and what kind of future career you want, so you're not mindlessly wandering during the beginning of college. High school should definitely be offering a larger variety of classes so kids can find out what they're interested in and what they're good at. May I ask why? Because it's filling a need only the church should meet. It's drawing folks away from the church toward paganism at best and the occult at worst. Worse, it's drawing away mostly Christians who have been spiritually transformed by their baptism. I see what you mean. I went to Cuba not long ago. I knew there would be black folks living there, but was shocked at how many. A lot of them were Christian and openly practiced Santeria. Very openly. Like, walking down the street dressed in all white men and women, and doing rituals or praying with the doors of their home wide open, hanging different herbs and things above their front door. Even children. It was one of the most interesting things I'd ever seen because they had no problem at all integrating the two. Of all the black Cubans I spoke to, even the ones who were strictly Christian, they all seemed to be extremely cognizant of Santeria's cultural importance to our ancestors and still respected it. No one seemed to have an issue with it. Who knows the right way to do things, you know? Humans don't have all the answers. What you describe in Cuba is absolutely terrible to read, and people should have an issue with it. Truth is not what you want it to be just because everyone else is complacent with the wrong way. That's not what I meant, but that's okay. Thanks for sharing. Hello, if you have made it to the end of the video, make sure to click the subscribe button below. You can also check some of my previous videos. Just wait, comment and like too. I am Pink Balloon and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.